Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, the 15th of August, 2022, and I'm in my office, that's in my basement, because it is literally the only place in the house that isn't um, just full of the noise from what's going on at the heritage site. And I like to start my videos off with the heritage site only because it's my segue to the fact that we do cover up ancient infrastructure, ancient like ruins, ancient um, monuments and buildings, and even like natural and man-made actually. And the more we keep doing this, the more we're not helping ourselves. We're just helping like these like high-ranking business owners, elitist controllers, whatever you want to call them, the Klaus Schwabs, the Hararis, um, these guys that don't have the same background as I do, and my family lineage and genealogy, by the way. So I'd like to separate that. If you guys want to make the obvious, like comparisons to our, anyway, I'll just leave it at that. And so when we do things like tear down trees needlessly instead of looking at the impact and the assessments, not only current but also for generations to come, decades to come at the very least. And then we keep on doing the explosions and the blasts and the in the areas, and like we just tolerate this stuff 24/7. I'm talking about like this. We are paying to live here, right? And we are paying them to make sure that decisions that they make are in our best interest and not theirs. And so even JT, just by virtue of his family lineage, he is involved in this whole like mass cover up that's been going on for thousands of years. And I understand that it would be a scary thing to tell the truth. I was a child at one point too with parents, you know what I mean? And I know it could be scary, but you know what I mean? As adults, telling the truth is literally what assists us in not continually wiping ourselves out every 100 or so years. And so if we just stop doing that, that'd be great. And so things like this, like they're like the whole main road, like in our area, right? It's now we don't have access to it, right? So these are where like roads, my main road that I take to go to the dog trails with my dogs every single day. So like now I have to find another route and stuff like that. And this is what I mean. So like, and they're not even putting their vehicles or equipment inside the now compound, but what that was a beautiful natural and man-made heritage site, way older than what we were being led to believe. And so they're putting it on the exterior, right? Because they don't want to be bothered with all of these like resources, you know what I mean? Like inside the no, they just not enough room, right? So they'll put it on our property, like in our areas, and again, like with the sound and explosions and the whistles and then just like the amount of people that they have on site, needless. But then they just keep on like occupying our space, and I seem to be the only one that's upset about this. But it is what it is. And so this is why I want to move, and the reason why I am not able to at this point in time is because a lot of people don't accept dogs, especially dogs that are not neutered, because in my humble opinion, neutering animals is mutilation. I don't think that they would consent to it if they had vocal cords and like able to speak these things out. And it causes hormonal issues. It causes developmental issues. This is a business, so even veterinarians that I know who are not even remotely healthy are in the sick care industry with animals, even, right? So like even with like what I know about neutering or spaying animals, people can do what they want, but this is not about population control. This is about money. The amount of money it costs also is insane. And then all these vaccinations and boosters and like in the Ottawa, Stittsville, Canada area, right? Like, and so this is what I mean. Like, and then kennels won't accept dogs that are not mutilated, and so like then I'm stuck. So like I'm basically a single parent with toddlers. You know what I mean? I can't even have a break. You know what I mean? If I want to like go out for work in a meaningful way for extended periods of time, and I've been offered multiple contracts, but I've had to say no because of my vaccination status or because of having my animals, right? And so these are all ridiculous things to me, and I have to keep on just accepting it for what it is and just like making excuses. Like I understand it is what it is, but yeah, anyway. And so yeah, like even with accommodations, if I wanted to like rent even while all this construction was going on, because it's scaring my dogs. I've shared videos of that too, with Smokey like shaking. You know what I mean? Like he shakes, convulses. It's overwhelming, right? And so this causes cognitive and developmental issues for dogs too, right? Like I'm sure like his stomach, you know what I mean, is not doing well with this either, right? And even when he hears the whistles, like that's his like he knows what's coming, and so like even that, like he loses it. I feel so bad, you know what I mean? And there's children in the area too, right? That cry and then don't go out. And anyway, I don't want this to be a pity party. I'm just saying, like, if we address the fact that we keep on listening to people that don't have our best interests at heart, or the health of the people in the area, their interest at heart, or anyone in Canada's interest at heart, and this is a business for money, and they don't care how sick we get because of all the stuff that happens too, because of the electrical outflow and output, and like the harmful rays that are not being protected from like the canopies that were there, like the damaging of the soil. Like these are all hugely impactful to our environment. And if we look at other countries and do the assessments and how and why they are the way they are now, you will understand that this stuff is like it's a precursor to it, right? Like this is, anyway, it's so where's it going with stuff? Yeah. Talked about Trump before too. I want to be perfectly clear that even during the impeachment trials or whatever, again, that's not official court system, but it just means that if someone's impeached, they're not able to run for president again. And that's why I was saying it. We need to impeach him. It's not because of the January 6th thing at all, because like he, like whatever, right? That was a staged, planned, rehearsed event. And yes, people do die or get hurt during these staged, planned events. This is why people go missing when they discuss it. This is why, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't, because it's overwhelming, right? And so even Heche, like I shared that as a story, and I can reshare it. But there was like so much hidden symbology in that whole thing, right? And what people think they know about what happened is not reality, right? She was doing a documentary on human trafficking. I've shared that. You can look for yourself. That is not a lie. And then there's even stuff too, like hidden symbology with like the girl in room 13 as well, and it's correlate. Yeah, anyways, and so even if you write out 39, that is 53 in Gematria, and she was 53 years old. And then when you looked at the ambulance that she was put into, it was 63, which again, this is another like sacred number, but when you reverse it, and that's what they were showing, and they were showing us the upside down reverse image specifically because that looks like a 39. And then and so 39, 53 was her age when she passed away. And and even the 11th of August is another sacred day. So the whole like Joe Biden like may or may not, you know, like could have passed away on August 10th and Kamala Harris take over. This is the stuff where, like that me and these other Gematria people, we discuss, right? So sometimes we go bold and big, you know what I mean? Just to see like what happens, you know what I mean? And then we see like the connections between ancient history and dates and numerology and stuff like that, and see how this possibly could happen. And oftentimes are right, but sometimes are wrong. Yeah, it's good when you're wrong, you know what I mean? Like it's like too. So and I don't care to be I guess you wouldn't be wrong if you're just saying like I don't know, but it might happen. And if it did, it would be interesting. And so, but then the new prediction out now, because that was like a big timing and date and alignment thing that would have occurred. And so then now the next one is when he's 81 and when Kamala Harris is 59. And again, it's just because of the age, right? That the numerology and what's associated with those numbers. So again, next would be Joe Biden at 81, possibly passing away or leaving office or whatever, and then Kamala Harris taking over at 59. So anyway, so it goes doing like maybe before I get in this, I'll talk about Convoy stuff since I'm already on like a freaking controversial thing, and so more conversations in the last 24 hours about the Convoy and just and I don't and I understand that people are still like not actually up to speed or up to date on the actual reality with what happened on that. But like I just wish that we would just like focus more on like just like how absurd that was with the media and the messaging and all the stuff that pre and precluded all that stuff. But I was even saying at the end of January, right? Like on my social media, like confirmed that this was not who we thought it was. These groups, fringe minorities or whatever you want to call it, that they were claiming were involved in this, that was not true. And they've done it everywhere. They did it at the Washington. They do it literally everywhere. Literally, like what's going on in Europe now, like is because of this agenda that they were trying to push, right? They really wanted this like fringe minority, like anti-vaxxer, Trump supporter, QAnon, like white supremacist, like whatever agenda, and it's not working. It's not working because we're fighting it. We're pushing it. All levels of government, people that I know of all fucking backgrounds are infighting and speaking out on all of this stuff, and even people that are in the Liberal Party now are starting to, I guess, try not to get jail time and saying like, oh, we never supported like what they were saying and doing, and we knew that everything was like was not what we were being led to believe, even though Chief Slowly, the chief of Ottawa Police, was like looking on CBC for his news, and so was Kieran Moore, who's a political scientist. Why am I talking like this? Anyways, oh yeah, the top health expert, the political scientist Kieran Moore, also on the FDA committee, and funded by Pfizer and Moderna and anyway, AstraZeneca, but like especially Pfizer. So and also like I shared his memorandums from over a year ago now of him saying that there was no difference between the yeah, I won't even get into that stuff, but he said like essentially that the vaccines were ineffective even like well over a year ago, and then I have links to my description boxes where I'm talking about between 11 and 24% of 24.6 or whatever it is percent of people that were taking these mRNA vaccines, therapeutics, even years ago, because again, this is not new stuff. And that's another thing we were lied about as well. Like, oh, COVID, this is like a new thing. Like, no, it's not. Like, what? Like, and so if I wasn't part of the methylquin court hearing for the last several years, maybe I would have done this too, right? Like, you don't know. But because during the methylquin anti-malarial case that I have, you know what I mean? It's a mass tort. Like it's going against the government on pushing therapeutics on first responders when they have been banned in other countries, when there's so many adverse side effects, and this is a business, right? People don't care. They're like, oh, they're in the military. Well, we're also like, not only are we in charge of the military, but we're also in charge of pharmaceuticals. So like, if they want to be in the military and get paid and stuff like that, even though we're lying to them about why they're going to places and like and lying to everyone about like what they're doing. We're also going to like make them like risk their health and stuff like that for profit. And they're healthy and young enough, so like no one's ever gonna know. You know what I mean? There's gonna be these odd cases of immune issues and terminal diseases and or death. You know what I mean? And all this other stuff. Like whatever. We want the money, and who cares, right? And you pay anyway. People I know personally that even and not making the correlations that like when they were mass inoculated when they first got in, they were then within weeks diagnosed with like long-term Bell's palsy. Like there's so many other ones that I'm not even remembering right now. There's so many side effects, and I won't name these names, but people that are even on the mass tort for the methylquin case that are boosted, and I don't understand it because I was even giving them the information on the debunked data out of the trials, the original trials. That I tried sharing with friends and family, and then even like within like a 12-hour period, it was already redacted and edited, and like the information manipulated. And then in March, March of this year, I was finally able to get it again and share it with people, and then people were starting to listen. You know what I mean? Because then it's not. But yeah, unless you know. And so anyone that wants to speak out on me and say that I don't know what I'm talking about and all this other stuff, or like paint me in a category, like, are you going on censored browsers? I think you are. And anyway, I'm not going on censored browsers. I've been doing this my entire life. I have top secret government clearance. I have multiple degrees from multiple areas, well accredited schools and still ongoing, right? Like at Carleton University, and trying to share data with them as well, and they're not listening because even our educational institutions, they have their own scripts and agendas that they have to push, and it's abusive to all of us, right? And it's every country has its own identity and its own scripts that it's supposed to play out, but it's by people that are known criminals and do really bad stuff. And like this with Heche, she was trying to get out, by the way, too. So so what actually did happen was it was a hit, and her and whoever that person was with her, they were both trying to get out, right? And so with that information I shared with the video, with her and the gurney, even with the people that responded. So it's like, so there are people that dress like various departments of government, paramedics, they dress like police officers, they dress like firefighters, they dress like security guards, they dress, you name it. And then they go and respond first, right? And they look official. The equipment they use is official. The uniforms, like I said, the vehicles, and they do it so often in certain areas that people actually literally, you know what I mean? Like they don't question this stuff, right? And so these people that are embedded, that are not good people, that are the sacrificial crazy people, are the ones that like respond. They try to like inject first with these cocktails that I've shared on my social media, like the three big ones that they put in the same cocktail, and usually that just like freaking like knocks them out, so people can't even escape or try to escape. But she somehow was able to, like, as they were trying to like lift her in, and it was aired by aerial video, getting out, trying to like get out of the like the freaking body bag or whatever she was in, and escape, and they put her back down and put her in the ambulance, and then she's dead, right? But like she looked very much alive, and the guy looked anyway. And so these are all things that that happen, and it's a shame. And but people need to question more what they're giving to people and why and how and or why people are sketched out. You know what I mean? And the documentary on human trafficking is still going to be released, but it's just unfortunate that that people that made it and tried to share this information to people like you and I. It's just a shame that like on live television they were literally murdered by these people. It's fucked up. But that happens a lot, right? And so that even happened, you know, with like the leaders in Africa and Haiti and like fucking you name it, right? And so this is the weird stuff. Like even like my direct descendant, William Wallace, right? He died fighting for freedom for people, and it's lame. So yeah, I'm like looking at my notes. Oh yeah, and so like so these like these scripts that and narratives that they try to play out, people eat it up. They're even today, like they're convinced. And like even yesterday, like this and I know she meant well, you know what I mean? And it's a coping mechanism, or it's just a default thing to say, but like try to imply that literally anyone that was supporting the convoy needed to be medicated. And she like I have cognitive science background too, right? And like I know how the brain operates, and like I like for years, right, with complex trauma, like I've assessed my own brain and others, and I've looked at like EEGs and anyways and just it's just such a dismissive rude comment, right? And like and most people that were part of this like fringe minority that were trying to like go against these mandates and against the jabs were like PhD level and above people, whistleblowers and stuff like that, and then very brave, intelligent people that even in the Ottawa area that are now people I know. Helen Bruce, she is suspended because she was trying to expose the literal cover-ups of 29 deaths of children. Okay, and so and then the default, like, oh, I have immunocompromised family members or whatever. And for me, I'm also like, okay, there's ways to mitigate and for that person to improve their own health, and has nothing to do with anyone else, right? So there's like symptomatic versus asymptomatic, like you know what I mean, spread, and then like any and health, and so if someone is like has immune issues, like I would recommend or encourage they don't take the jab, because again, this is something that does make, possibly depending on what kind of like what's in the vial, right? Because again, it's not you're not getting what you think you're getting. There's been so many third-party trials that have gone out and show that there's like bubonic plague and swine flu and monkey and so many different like heavy metals and silicone in some too, and water in others, and anyways, and then some of them you get what they claim they were giving you, and again, like even the ingredients of stuff that they listed, they keep changing it too, right? And it's still an emergency use authorization until 2023. And so, yeah, like I don't think that like children deserve to be sacrificed or die because someone's immunocompromised, like older parent that they won't, even if vaccinated or not, has like it's completely unrelated to the status of that person, right? And so I have friends too that are immunocompromised, and for me, I'm like, it's up to you. But here is if you're negative blood type, then there's no point in you taking the therapeutic, because if it has all these adverse reactions for so many people that we know and that are also being pushed out, you know what I mean, and not censored, then I encourage you not to take it, and then like go outside. We like do walks, like work on health, increase vitamin D, yeah, those things, right? And like maybe not take that, and yeah, so like do things like I'm doing, right? So like even with therapeutics, how they respond, it's vaccine dependent, and it's also host dependent, right? And so if you are someone that's immunocompromised, it's not something that's going to be effective for you long term anyways to take. And so if there are huge risks and it would make you sick and you are immunocompromised, so you'd have like a worse time getting over the sickness, then don't take it. I'm not a medical expert, but I do have medical training beyond what a lot of regular citizens have because I was an infantry officer, and he had to be current with that stuff. And then anytime we did patrols or things like that in war, you had to be able to respond to that, right? Because you don't have doctors and nurses, you know, even readily available, right? Like and anyway, and so you have to be aware of how to like respond to different injuries and stuff like that based on circumstances. And I've also been a coach. I've done a lot of courses on like the physique, the anatomy, I guess, and then like internal and external stuff, and yeah. Anyway, and this is only just to give me credibility to what I want to discuss. So, but even with the therapeutics, I've shared links to peer-reviewed science, medical, and governmental data. So I would also encourage people to like look at that stuff and yeah. And question things. So again, if 15% of the population is negative blood type, and doctors and nurses are not even asking or not even aspirating needles, then I'm going to say that like again, we need to stop what we're doing. These expert panels, whatever, like fire all of those fucking people, and get better people on. And I know a lot of people that like I would hire. So I don't know. I wanted to talk about matter's mostly empty space and how, you know, like how can we make matter, you know, when 99.99% of it is empty space. And so, but maybe I'll save that for another time. So I'm getting into so many fired up freaking things. Yeah, okay, so I'll get into the whole like and on social media now too, there's so many people like completely and like saying, oh, we didn't approve the mandates, we didn't say recommend the jabs, like we're trying to call this stuff out, and these are heads of epidemiology, and like everyone's trying to backtrack now, and I already have your names: Vera Etches, Omar, Kieran Moore, Marco Mendoncini, Jim Watson, Patty Haju, Teresa Tam. Like, we need to remember these names of people that harmed us during this whole thing, and we're getting paid to and taking breaks when people like me were 24/7 trying to call this stuff out, and Helen Groups especially, who's being suspended right now. Why is this not all over the news that she's a hero? Why is that not all? You know what I mean? Like she was trying to expose the deaths of children, and again, like people don't grasp the reality of like when you try to speak out on stuff, when people go missing. And Heche, human trafficking documentary, look what fucking happened. And I have so many examples of that too, like the Haitian prime minister leader. He didn't die the way people think he died either. And it's when people speak out on things, these controllers are elitist people. It's all about money, right? They want to just keep on making money. So yeah, it's interesting times. And so I've had death threats multiple times. And like I've had cops who I don't even know if they were cops or not, because again, sometimes people do try to threaten and intimidate people by virtue of pretending they are people that they're not. Or there's people that just drink the Kool-Aid and think, you know, believe what they want to believe about people, even though oftentimes it's character assassinations and misleading information, just so you could do the dirty work, right, and not feel bad about it, right? Like if you paint me as this like evil person, you know what I mean? Even though like you know, I've donated $25,000 to charity in the last 6 months. You know what I mean? But for good ones, right? Not the weird ones that do the human trafficking and the and all that stuff, right? Like good ones with honorable, noble people that I've known for years, that I know that are taking this money, and they are making wellness centers or retreats that are like more off the land, and they're bringing people in, teaching primitive survival skills and like and having more of a like trying to like instill more values and ethics and things like that I believe to be what we need in order to kind of like be more peaceful and more balanced and more respectful and live more in harmony and cooperation with like literally everything and everyone. And so yeah, those are the things I can stand by, right? And so yeah, I don't know if people remember this, but when I was prepping for like a pro show, a pro qualifier, not a pro show. I'm not a pro wellness competitor, but I was competing to try to be one. And anyways, I did all the prepping and training and stuff like that for this competition, and then it got canceled. But yeah, when I like just like within like a day or two after that, like I was driving a common route that I usually take. Well, yeah, so like a route that I usually take or was taking at the time. because every few months I switch up my behaviors and my patterns. Like even when I do like when I drive places on a regular basis, I do often switch up my commute and my routes. I don't know why I do that. Maybe it's weird. But anyway, this time I was going on a predictable route, and it was a very, like, to me it just didn't make sense, right? And like I can be very intuitive when I want to be. And when I was driving, I was in the passing lane, and there was a vehicle that was behind a transport truck, but literally went into my lane as I was passing, and it was looked off, and like I looked at him, and like it like, and so I had to go like in the meridian or whatever, and I was like going through posts and stuff like that, but he wouldn't get out of the lane. It's and so it had been like at least a mile of me like literally trying not to fucking like my vehicle to roll over, because like the meridian was like also like going in a ditch, right? So I was and Jeeps topple, and I was going through like these posts and these like light things too. And then I think because like there was more people seeing how obvious this was, then he finally slowed down and then went back and stuff like that. And then I got into the lane and then sped up and went like in front of the transport truck and stuff like that. But anyway, and then like he was speeding up again, and so, but he was like saying that he was sorry, and then went off. But like I was going, and so so anyways, I didn't know if he was actually trying to kill me or not. But so again, and then I think about these things, right? And it was weird. And then there's been times where cops have like randomly out of the blue came to my house at night, late at night, and like claiming things that were like 100% verifiably not true, and all the claims they made, like even though I had no idea they would ever come, so I wouldn't be able to prepare for anything. Like I showed them that actually what they were claiming was actually the opposite, and I wasn't making a big thing of it, even though my life was in danger, and I was being threatened, and I was being stalked and harassed and like all this shit, and I was leaving it because I'm like I've dealt with this my whole life, you know what I mean? So it's just like another freaking day. But and so I was showing them like my blocked messages and like my sent messages, and other people's messages, and how they could see that for months, you know what I mean, that blocked people on so many different social media platforms had been attempting to reach out to me, because you can show that too, and saying like, look, here's like missed calls, you know what I mean? And it's like that person, not me, and not answered and blocked, but like this is just yeah, anyway. And so, and then I gave them literally all my messages too. And this is embarrassing things, because it's not their business, but these are like, I don't ever want to elicit a response in people that have weapons that are in my home, because I've also seen videos of cops shooting innocent people multiple times because of stress, duress, incorrect assessments and drills, and you know, and all that stuff too, right? So it's just you never know, right? And because of someone like me, I don't know if they're real cops or not, so I ask for badges. That never goes over well, right? Because they already think like, oh, I want some badge, like who's this person? And then I want names too, right? Because and this is repeatedly, so this has happened a couple of times, and I'm like, come on, guys. You're making me look like a criminal to my neighbors now, too. You're scaring my dogs. Like, I have my own PTSD, and I'm literally risking my life trying to share information. And so I don't know if you are an actual cop or not. But if you are, then please just leave me alone. You know, just at least do that. Because, like, I have cop friends like Helen, and I won't say the other names of the guys, but who've been giving me information since the beginning and saying, like this is happening, and we need to, like, expose this more. And, yeah. And oh yeah, and then even like last summer I had two guys come to my home late at night trying to get in, and then circling my block for hours. And again, this is verifiable stuff, because I took recordings, I took video, I sent it up. I eventually called 911 just to say that this was happening, and I said I did not want anyone to respond to my home that night, and that I felt comfortable enough that they weren't coming in, they were just circling the block, so whatever. And I was prepared if they would have tried to come in again. But I said that, and so I'm like, if anything, I just want this to be on file or whatever. I explained this, whatever, and I said that the following day is when I would talk to someone and do the report. Because even that, right, they're like 911, like that is a sacred number. There's sometimes people that respond to 911 calls that are not who you think they are. I know that sounds crazy, but I can verify everything that I say, and if I'm incorrect on things, then I will just correct it, right, publicly, because there's nothing wrong with being wrong unless you're doing it to deceive people and manipulate people and harm people. And if you find out, right, then just let people know, right? That just makes it easier. And so, where's going with this stuff? Yeah, you know what? I'm already going on a long tangent, all this stuff. So I just wanted to give a final note for people to consider is like, it takes like 200 years or less for people to go from human civilization to go from horse and buggy to hadron colliders. Okay, and so not a long period of time, especially if there's like these cycles and resets that happen fairly frequently. Then yeah, and so this would be predictive patterning and algorithms and scripts and role playing that has been done for who knows how long. So we just need to get on top of this stuff. And I do have ideas. I would love to talk to people in government about this stuff and find better ways. And so on that note, I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.